UFC 325. This is the weigh-in recap show, full card predictions, and the betting breakdown. I'm looking forward to talking about each of the matchups on this card after seeing the fighters on the scales. So make sure you guys smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, subscribe. Turn the post notifications on and make sure you share the video too. Also note, I'll be live for the entire card Saturday at 5 p.m. Eastern time. Don't miss the fight companion. The weigh-ins, 3:30 in the morning start. It's about 5 o'clock right now at the time of this recording. So make sure you guys give me a little extra shout in the comments for bringing the thunder throughout all hours of the day, all right? I want to start it off with a little laugh, though. I don't want to jump into anything serious right away. Aaron Tao, I guess for him it's serious. He missed weight. And he tried to pull a Daniel Cormier. You can see him with the box resting his elbows on it. And he comes in, he weighs 122 pounds. You need the box, you're 122? What? Listen, I got no problem with people trying to cheat. But if you get caught, you are an idiot. He got caught. They had him reweigh in without the box, and he was completely distraught as he comes in at 129 pounds. And probably, unfortunate for him, this is where it's serious. UFC contract far out of reach now. I mean, it's not like he was over by a pound. This was the Road to UFC flyweight finale. He's 129. That's terrible. So, sorry to Aaron Tao. That sucks for him. Fight is canceled against Namsrai Batbayar. I'm laughing about the weight incident because it was really hilarious, but I'm actually really disappointed we don't get to see the fight. I thought Namsrai Batbayar and Aaron Tao was about to be a banger. I was talking about how I could see both guys earning UFC contracts in a damn good fight. Well, Aaron Tao, he'll be lucky if he gets a chance at that Road to UFC finale ever. Weight miss, big weight miss, trying to cheat the scale, tries to pull a Cormier. Listen, man, there's nothing wrong with cheating, but there's a lot wrong with getting caught. And he got caught, and he looked stupid for trying it. Big fumble of the bag from Aaron Tao. So we'll start it off with a giggle, but I do want to get into the breakdown, and we're going to talk about the fight. So the first fight on the card now is Sulangrangbo versus Lawrence Louis. You guys know Sulangrangbo, if you've tuned into the show throughout the week, the hands, the movement, the timing of his shots. He's a menace to society. He's slick on the feet, nasty uppercut, precise puncher. I really think he has a different level of stand-up skills than what Lawrence Louis is bringing to the table. Lawrence Louis is awkward. He comes with a tight, close range high guard, almost like a peekaboo style you see some guys in bare knuckle do as they're, trying to catch the shots and avoid getting cut. He has a very much pressure-based, wrestling instinct game, but he has a bit of punching power. Lawrence Louis is a weird case because he comes from the City Kickboxing team, but if you were to judge him from the eye of what you expect from City Kickboxing, he does everything wrong. But it's fighting, right? And you don't have to be by the book to find some success. He's 7-1. He's a Road to UFC finalist. Here he is on the biggest stage, and he's fighting a guy that does pretty much everything right in striking. Good counter puncher, sets nice traps, very good precision with his shots. Sulangrangbo seems like a blue chip prospect, and he's literally 20 years old. The striking skill that he has, guys won't get that in their entire career. They could be, 33, been doing it since they were 7. Some guys just got it. I think Sulangrangbo has the God-given gift of striking talent. He's Sumadarji's cousin as well. Not that Sumadarji's elite, but having a cousin in the UFC, there's something in the genes there. I don't think the awkward style of Lawrence Louis gets to Grambo. I think we're going to see Louis try and wrestle. I think Sulangrangbo's going to thud him up with some nice counter shots. I see big moments from the side of Sulangrangbo, and I think big enough moments that a knockout is possible here, especially with that uppercut. Lawrence Louis' striking vulnerabilities. It's a red flag and a half. And we got Mr. Green Flag with slick stand-up on the Sulangrangbo side. So I'm going with Sulangrangbo to win. and I'm pretty damn excited. Now, I do want to check these two out on the scales. We'll bring them up. Lawrence Louis, he was camera shy. Okay, he was hiding behind his hand. He only wanted to show half the face at the official weigh-ins here. I think he's actually doing some, traditional martial art type of standoff there. Maybe it's like a Street Fighter-esque style. To be honest, I don't have a relevant meme to compare it to, but the only thing I thought is, damn, why are you covering your face, my man? I want to see if that weight cut's getting to you. Sulangrangbo, honestly, he looked goofy. He looked just happy to weigh in and make the weight. It wasn't an aura farming moment for him, and neither was it for Lawrence Louis. Honestly, if you watch the weigh-in live, Lawrence Louis, he looked like he didn't know where to walk after he got off the scale, after they finished facing off. It was reminding me of like a Mikey Musumeci when he like doesn't know, how to walk up to the damn grappling mats for a jiu-jitsu competition, and he's done hundreds of them. So yeah, Lawrence Louis, slight spectrum suspicion from me on that. All right, but listen, dude can fight regardless of that. I do think Sulangrangbo is better, though. There's the face-off. Lawrence Louis doesn't show any emotion. Cold. Sulangrangbo looked kind of nervous to me. Lawrence Louis just looked, completely disassociated. I really think that Sulangrangbo shows some levels in striking. I think Lawrence Louis is going to come out wild. I think he's going to come out over-aggressive. And I think he's going to get caught by some heavy shots. I think Sulangrangbo should be good to go. I think so. I think Sulangrangbo's winning this fight, man. I do. I believe in Sulangrangbo. I'm looking forward to his UFC debut. When I was watching tape on him, I was like, yo, this guy's got something. I really think he's a fun prospect. And Lawrence Louis tough, but I think Sulangrangbo's the way. Now, the odds are wide. Minus 250 is the favorite. He deserves this tag because he's a clean striker, and Lawrence Louis hittable, man. I look at under 2.5, minus 150. To be fair to Lawrence Louis, if his chin holds up, he could go distance. He could lose in a strike-heavy fight. But ultimately, I feel as though the power could get to Lawrence Louis. I think Sulangrangbo going to catch him. Plus 120 range for the knockout. I think he does hit him with that thunderous kill shot. But to go out and say it with supreme confidence is difficult as far as to, run out and get it now on the prop betting side. And then the money line at minus 250 for an unproven guy on the road to UFC card, obviously it's 325, but it's the road to UFC card. It's a little bit wide, But I do feel good about this kid's potential. But he is fighting a guy that's 29, so maybe more muscle maturity and, man strength on him. And a guy that's looking to wrestle heavy. We'll see what Sulangrangbo's defensive grappling is going to look like. But I have high hopes, man. I have high hopes. I like the skill set. I'm excited to witness what he can do inside of this UFC octagon. I thought he looked sharp on road to UFC. He could be a contender series prospect. I'm going to go out and say this. I think this week's road to UFC lineup is comparable to the contender series lineup, which is nice to see because road to UFC normally has subpar talent. Sulangrangbo, especially an exception, but even Lawrence Louis is a dog. So good fight here. I think Sulangrangbo handles. Let's get to the next fight. We keep on moving up the card. We got Sebastian Szalay versus Kiichiro Nakamura. Sebastian Szalay is sharp, man. And when maybe sharp is not the right term because you think sharp, you're imagining Israel Adesanya in his prime. He's clean with it on the inside. He mixes up his punches well in range. He mixes in takedowns fairly well. He attacks the body nicely. He's got good footwork. He's fast and he avoids shots pretty well. Kiichiro Nakamura with more of the distant striking karate-esque style from the outside, straight punches down the line, precision on his straight shots. I think Szalay is going to have the edge in the boxing range, and I think Szalay could potentially get this fight to the ground. I'm interested to see how they tangle in the inside as they tie up. How's that going to look? I like Szalay's hands. I like Szalay's close range punching, and I like his ability to switch up his stances. On the opposite side, Nakamura, the long southpaw stance on the outside, and he can kind of mix it up fairly well on the inside too to give him some credit where it's due, like he does have some combinations in close and, definitely some finishing ability and is like willing to brawl. It's like I'll talk about the karate-esque base to his style, right? But it's not like he just runs away when the shit gets fiery and close. Like he's willing to bang. And I think though that leads to advantage to Szalay because it's not like Nakamura is the master of distance, right? He has a very distant seeming stance and style from the outside, but guys can get in on him. And I think Szalay does. And he's given up some reach, man. 4.5 inches. Szalay's going to have to close the gap. But when you have a 66-inch reach, you have to close the gap on pretty much everybody, okay? No matter what the weight class. You got to close the gap on girls in the sparring room with the 66-inch reach. So I think Sebastian Szalay will be fine at the disadvantage of the range here. And I think he's going to close that gap and land some shots. I think it's a good back and forth fight. I think Szalay gets him on the cards in a fun one. Now, looking towards the scales, saw him weigh in. We'll bring him up. I guess I'll first bring up Szalay on the scale. He came in looking like a 40-year-old plus uncle of mine, to be honest with you. Doesn't look like a world-class cage fighter, but looks can be deceptive, though he has the face of the Unks. Unk might even be, in this day. People call me Unk in my 20s. So maybe, great uncle. The dude can still fight regardless. On the opposite side, Nakamura, he looks just straight out of an anime. He's got the bleach blonde hair. He's all excited to be there. And I'm excited for this fight, honestly. I think it's going to deliver. And I do think looks are deceptive. Like, look at the face-off, bro. That's your drunk uncle at the barbecue. And he's fighting this young martial artist. But what they don't know is the drunk uncle knows how to throw down, okay? I think Sebastian Szalay is going to be able to outfight Nakamura. This ain't about looks. This ain't about who looks like the better fighter. It is who is the better fighter. And I think Szalay, he's got the dog in him. And I think Nakamura has some dog too. I'm not saying that he's, a wimp or anything like that, but I think Szalay's got higher level opposition rate, fighting eternal MMA, 5-round fights multiple times. I like that. I think the cardio's there. I think the speed is there. I think the footwork's there. And I think the dog toughness is there. I'm going to say he outworks Nakamura to become this season's Road to UFC winner in the featherweight division. Yeah, I think he goes out and shows out. I think he can do it here. Now, he is also expected to win. We'll bring the odds up here. Sebastian Szalay is sitting at favorite status, -140 for him. Kiichiro Nakamura sitting at +120 as the dog. I'm going to say that the Sebastian Szalay side wins. I think so. Live to go over 2.5 at -110, yes. You're betting on Road to UFC. Do with that as you wish. I'm just telling you what I'm thinking here. I think it makes sense, Szalay decision, +230. He did show some power in his last fight, but normally he's a decision winner. $25,000 bonus, though, for a finish. That could cause both of these guys to really go after it, and it ends up being a more violent fight than initially anticipated with the extra $25K bonus on the line. And if you win a performance bonus, it's $100 grand. Holy shit, that's life-changing money for a lot of these guys. Knockout's not crazy at +450 if Nakamura's willing to sit in the pocket and slug and Szalay sits on some of his punches and is, accurate and clean. You could put him out. But, if you are throwing heavy on, the gambling side, I think Szalay more likely to pull out on the dominant decision side. And it's saying dominant might even be a reach. On the decision side where there could be moments for both, but Szalay does more. So Sebastian Szalay to win the featherweight finale is going to be my prediction here. Next fight on the card, we have Dam Mar Phan versus Sang-Uk Kim. So I've been picking the side of Dam Mar Phan. All right. I've been thinking, okay, Dam Mar Phan, I feel as though the grappling, right? He could get to Sang-Uk Kim. But I'll tell you, seeing the scale, I'm concerned. We'll talk about the scale in a second. But I will tell you, the skill sets of both are competitive, right? I think that Kim is a better brawler on the feet. I think Kim has more power in his hands. I think Phan's a better kicker from range. I think he's better from the clinch. And I think he probably has better grappling. But Kim can close that gap with his physical strength. Dude is an ex-Navy SEAL, or the equivalent of that, from South Korea. We saw with Benoit Saint Denis. These SEALs are built completely different than the rest. a few years older or 7 years older than Don Marfan, a little more pro experience. It just got me thinking a bit. And then seeing these guys for the first time at a UFC weigh-in and seeing them face to face for a first time, it just has me thinking a little bit. We'll bring up the scale and we'll check them out here. And you'll see what I'm saying. Okay. So the side of fan, he came in actually below 155. He came in at 154.6. Looked very skinny. And, for a guy that I'm anticipating gets the fight to the ground, I just feel like, man, Kim might have the strength to fight out of these spots. Kim looks pretty jacked, strong, in shape, 32, but looks young too. I don't know, man. This fight, post weigh-in, seeing them face off, I'm like, the skill sets I anticipate to be close, but I was just like uninspired by the weigh-in for Don Marfan. And I wasn't overly enthused about the prediction all week. And then I'm sitting here thinking, the Aaron Tao versus Batbayar fight canceled. I was thinking Tao was a live underdog. Something's telling me it's not going to be a favorite sweep across the board for Road to UFC. Now I got Sang-Woo Kim. He's a dog. He looks a little bigger than Fan. He looks like a weight class ahead. Like I'm going to say this. I think Don Marfan can make 145. Sang-Woo Kim looked confident. He definitely won the battle of the face-off. Even as they're talking, he's like, I'll do my best, you do yours. He shakes hand. He like pulls Don Marfan towards him. You feel the energy from the face-off. If you watch the face-off live, you know exactly what I'm talking about. If you didn't, you're just hearing me. Ook Kim just seems fucking ready. Navy SEAL equivalent. It's got me thinking, and Don Marfan, I wouldn't bet him down at minus 150. That doesn't mean he can't win, but I wouldn't go out and bet minus 150. But would I consider the underdog, Sang-Woo Kim, throwing some heavy shots, making it a war? Fan struggles to get him down, gets caught up in a barrage on the feet. Honestly, it's hard for me to imagine a world where Frogman isn't on the UFC roster. Street Boot is a cool nickname, but Frogman is like a goated nickname. Frogman and Street Buddha. It's almost like everything's telling me we got Iron Turtle, who turned out to be pretty solid from South Korea, right? We got the Korean Tyson, right? Who turned out to be pretty damn good from South Korea. And now we got Frogman from South Korea, and he trains with Korean Tyson. I might be sleeping on Sang-Woo Kim. I might be sleeping on him a bit. Something's telling me I might be. His road to UFC wins, outdogged people, able to pull off wins. You look at this one here, he's a slight dog. You look at this one here, he's a slight favorite. You look at this one here, he's a slight dog, right? Fought Rong Zhu back in 2023. Goes distance. Listen, it's good experience against a sharpshooter like Rong Zhu. Rong Zhu's stand-up is legit. Don Marfan, only 10 pro fights. He does have 2 losses to Quillian Salkilld. Level of opposition, he beat this completely overrated guy where he was a huge underdog against the 11-0 Yuji. And then Jae-Hyun Park, able to go out and win as a slight favorite last time out. Not finishing people. I have to trust my intuition. And I just hear this whisper saying to me, Sang-Woo Kim, Frogman, rip. I'm going with Sang-Woo Kim. I'm pick flipping. After they faced off, I feel as though if I were to lose this prediction and stick with Don Marfan and he goes out and loses, I'm like, I knew it. And if somehow he surprises me, well, you know what? You should have trusted the Sunday J. That's purely on the tape, right? No instincts from the face-offs. I think Sang-Woo Kim can win in a war. That bonus on the line changes things, man. I think it could end up being an intense fight. I think Sang-Woo Kim might be live to stop him. Inside distance, plus 375. He's got finishing ability. He's got sub skills. It's plus 600 for sub. Plus 900 for him to win by KO. I'm going to say this fight ends in a finish. I think Sang-Woo Kim stops him. Maybe in the second round. Maybe in the third. Catches him with some big barrages of shots. Don Marfan not able to dominate positionally. Caught up in a striking match and hurt. And maybe even Sang Kim takes his ass down. I'm going to go pick flip on this one. The first pick flip of 2026. is a road to UFC fight. I don't think it could be more perfect, right? It has to be a road to UFC fight. I'm going to choose Frogman over Street Buddha. And I'm going to say Sang-Woo Kim live to either knock out Don Marfan, and looking at the prediction rate of the people, everybody thinking going distance. Everybody distance. I don't trust the masses at all. You can't. Sang-Woo Kim, he's finished 3 of his last 4 wins. Decision loss to Rongju 2.5 years ago. More pro experience, several years older. He's got that man strength. He's got that grown-ass man build. Serious military experience. He might be like a Korean Benoit Saint Denis. I'm going to say Sang-Woo Kim stops him. He could knock him out with big shots, but maybe he chokes him out after hurting him on the feet. Sang-Woo Kim has shown comeback ability before too, man. I cannot look past it. I'm going Sang-Woo Kim to get it done, to pull off the upset in this one. I'm going against the Sunday J pick, and I'm going with post weigh-in, Sang-Woo Kim to get it. Let's get to the next fight on the card. This starts the real UFC card off. We got Kaan Ofli versus Yizha. I think Yizha gets him. I think Yizha is faster on the feet. I think Yizha has more accurate strikes. I think Yizha is just a cleaner stand-up fighter who also has a very good submission game, who also has a strong wrestling game and showcased some good recovery. Lost to Gabriel Santos. That's not a bad loss. Santos is very good. On the opposite side, Kaan Ofli, he's coming off the big upset win against Ricardo Ramos, but Ramos is quite awful. Prior to that, lost the decision to Muhammad Naimov, where he was out-grappled. Prior to that, lost to Myron Santos by a bad KO in the Ultimate Fighter finale. I feel like the striking difference is pretty serious here. Not that Kaan Ofli doesn't know how to throw a punch, but Kaan Ofli is not a high-tier striker. And I think Yizha has a pretty decent and developing kickboxing skill set. Add on top of it, Kaan Ofli, short arms, man. 71-inch reach for the side of Yizha, 66 for Ofli. Kaan Ofli's going to be getting hit a good amount by Yizha. Even though he fought Weston Wilson last time, and Weston Wilson is awful, still goes out and made it look easy, made it look easier than John Silva was able to do. I think that we see Yizha show out. I think his striking game is more evolved. I think he's the more complete fighter overall. Ground skills are solid too. Lots of wins by submission. I don't see Ofli just out wrestling him and beating him up and getting to his back and choking him. I think we're going to see Yizha have bigger and better moments throughout the fight. I'm leaning towards Yizha live to get it on the cards, but I think it comes down to what's Kaan Ofli's chin like. Yeah, I'm going with Yizha to win it. I think he can do it. I think he will. I think Yizha will do it. I think Yizha will get bigger and better strikes through. I think it comes down to that. And we'll check them out on the scale, and we'll see how these two are looking here. All right, we got Yizha at the weigh-in, looking in shape, ready to go. I feel like he's got that experience now. He's been on the roster for a bit. Has had some, I guess not been on the roster that long, but he's been on the road to UFC circuit for years. Got several road to UFC fights, and he's not even 30 yet. And he's got a lot more pro experience, and I think that he's going to be able to pass this Kaan Ofli test. Kaan Ofli on the opposite side looks solid on the scale too. Very physically strong, wrestling-based game, but I just think lacks in the stand-up department. And I think those holes will be shown against Yizha. And if they tie up and go to the ground, I can see Yizha having his way with them. There's the face-off between the two as well. Similar statures, right? Height a little bit favoring towards Yizha at the official face-off. Obviously, we know he's got the range advantage. Ofli's going to have to body him in grappling, and I just can't go out with confidence and say Yizha is going to do that. Or excuse me, Ofli's going to have to body him in grappling. I can't go out and say with confidence that Ofli is going to do that. Not that I'm thinking Yizha just grapple fucks him, but I can see Yizha hitting some takedowns, winning some striking exchanges, landing some better shots, maybe even rocking Kaan Ofli at some point. That Ramos fight, man, I don't know. I'm not saying it was rigged, but if there's anybody on that roster that I think for a check would bet the other side and give you the neck, it's Ricardo Ramos' bum ass, okay? So just an honest truth, okay? Now, as far as the odds for the fight, we have minus 200 for Yizha, plus 170 for Kaan Ofli. I'm going with the Yizha side. I think he wins. I think he should do enough. I think he's live for a decision over 2.5 minus 200. I'm not crazy about the betting side of that one specifically. Um, Yizha by KO plus 850. Yizha by submission plus 625. Then Yizha decision plus 125. I think don't be surprised if it's 3 good rounds of work and Yizha can secure 2 out of the 3 rounds and get this thing done on the judges' scorecards. I'm going to favor the Yizha side to land more significant strikes, to win the key striking exchanges, hit some takedowns as well, avoid Kaan Ofli's strong pressure wrestling game, and pull out a win. So the prediction for me is going to be Yizha to go out and do it. I'm going to have faith in him to show the evolution, and I think he's got more potential than Kaan Ofli, and he's already a more complete fighter. Next fight on the card, we have Jonathan Micallef versus Oban Elliott. The Welsh gangster, I'm going underdog lock. Welsh gangster. He's my savage dog lock for this week. I think the Welsh gangster wins this fight. Oban Elliott is going to find some nice right hands on that Micallef chin. Micallef, southpaw stance, likes to throw a lot of kicks, a little bit loopy with his punches. I think Oban's going to connect clean down with some straight punches. And I think even in the kicking skill set, I think Oban's snapping body kicks are more effective. I think Oban has a little more rhythm in his striking. Micallef can come with volume and pressure, but a little more slappy with his shots. There's more fat on them, a little more rubbery. I will give credit where it's due. He's got good high kicks. You know, he's also got solid BJJ skills, but I don't think he's subbing Oban Elliott. I think that Oban Elliott's able to get more significant shots off in a competitive striking affair. I think that we're going to see Oban Elliott have a slight speed advantage. I think he's a little cleaner, more pro fights as well, more UFC experience as well. I'm not off the Oban Elliott train, and he's an underdog in this spot against Micallef, whose one UFC win is a decision against Kevin Jousset. I think Oban Elliott can pass this type of test here, and I'm going to favor him to go out and get it done. I think he could be live to catch Micallef's chin, but I think it depends on what's Micallef's true durability look like. He did get knocked out 4 fights ago pre-UFC. There's Micallef on the scales. I'll tell you, dude is freakishly shredded. Like freaky low body fat percentage. Then on the opposite side, Oban Elliott looking hungry, coming in with absolute aura, in shape, and ready to go. I think Oban can handle it. I think the straight punches will get there first over the looping shots from Micallef. I think the southpaw versus orthodox, it favors the side of Oban. I think body kicks from Oban could be a factor. I think the fact that Oban has good grappling defense is a factor. He's got strong clinch pressure of his own and can mix in some takedowns as well. And I think he's just simply put the tighter and cleaner striker. And if they're in more punching range, which I'm going to anticipate they will be, I think that is the success mark. Pretty intense, man. Like Micallef looked to get up in his face. They're talking some shit back and forth. Oban saying he's coming for him tomorrow. I think he said you're dead tomorrow, like slash towards his throat. So an intense Oban Elliott. I think Oban can do it. Good face off, good intensity. You know, Micallef was more animated. This picture makes it look like he's completely succumbing to Oban Elliott. I don't want to push a biased narrative. I'll tell it as it is. Micallef, he's game. But I think Oban does more. And I think Oban Elliott is able to win this fight. I don't think Oban Elliott should be the underdog here. He's plus 110 is the dog. Micallef minus 130 is the favorite. I'm going the underdog side of Oban Elliott. Now, if you want to go out on a whim and say, what if? Power from Oban Elliott, if it's effective, if those straight shots are landing. I think Micallef's hittable down the center. He's a southpaw, you know? Oban's got some power in his right hand. Body kicks start wearing Micallef down. Maybe Oban's getting him out of there. Plus 800 odds for Oban Elliott to win by KO. Be a D-gen chasing. Elliott very live for a decision at plus 180. Is there anything else that catches my eye here? I don't think there was, but I'll just give it a, another check just because. Nah, I'm not crazy about anything else. I'm going to say we see Oban Elliott do more. The main thing between picking KO or decision is I think it's not a surefire thing. Oban Elliott knocks Micallef out, but I could see Elliott really landing some hard shots and maybe Micallef, in the later stages of the fight, past round, 2 halfway through, it starts to wear down and Oban starts to really get after him and have some big moments and Oban Elliott able to get a potential stoppage. But I definitely like just the straight underdog money line. That's why we're going savage dog lock. Oban Elliott. I think he passes the Micallef test. That Micallef Kevin Jusay win hasn't aged that well. It was a year ago. You know, Jusay got knocked out in PFL for Oban that lost to Co. I don't think it's the end of the world. Bad, you know, Basil Efez. I mean, bad knockout for Basil. Say good knockout for the side of Oban Elliott. I feel like he's still figuring it out. This is now his 5th UFC fight versus Micallef's 2nd, and he's got more pro experience too. I'm going to say Oban Elliott can deal with Micallef. Even though Micallef is the reach edge, necessarily use it incredibly well. And I'm going to say Oban does it. Next fight on the card, we have Jacob Malkoun versus Torrez Finney. Woo! I'm going to go Jacob Malkoun. Jacob Malkoun's got a lot of UFC fights. Jacob Malkoun's got a grappling background. Got some pro boxing fights. He should be better with his hands. Torrez Finney is the king of the smother. Until evidence is presented that he's evolved from that, I'm not picking it. Especially against a guy in Malkoun that gave Brendan Allen a run for his money. Yeah, it was some time ago, but really pushed it with Brendan Allen and made it look close. Like he was in the running with a guy who's now a top-ranked contender in the UFC. Torrez Finney, the Valentine fight was a smother fest. There hasn't been really any performance that has been like, wow, that's impressive. Not that Malkoun is, you know, looking towards the elite, but I've always felt like he's an easy fighter to sleep on, but he's got some skills for sure. His hands are pretty good. Not great, but pretty good. He works his jab pretty nicely. He's got some boxing combos. He's a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt. He's a good wrestler. Torrez Finney, obviously a very strong wrestler too, right? And maybe even, you know, exceedingly stronger in the physical element. But is he going to lay and pray Jacob Malkoun? Does jiu-jitsu work? If Torrez Finney just lays and prays Malkoun, then it doesn't, you know? This is how it goes. I'm rage baiting slightly. At the end of the day, I believe that Jacob Malkoun should be able to land cleaner punches. Should be able to fend off some takedowns. Should have better cardio. Coming off a bulging disc that caused a long layoff, right? So there's some worry with that. It's real. There's some worry with that. But Torrez Finney's striking is mid. He's training with the side, Daniel Cormier. If Daniel Cormier is really invested in him and he's made these crazy evolutions, then you know what? Prove it to me. And if I'm wrong, if he goes out there and handles Jacob Malkoun, I'm going to jump on the Torrez Finney bandwagon with more than just like cult fandom of, oh, it's exciting to watch a fight. Like, oh, this guy might actually be good. But I have some reasonable doubt about how good he truly is. I don't know yet. And Jacob Malkoun, I could easily see him outboxing him, stopping the takedowns, piecing him up with shots. I could see Torrez Finney getting a little bit of a defensive shell, maybe even getting TKO'd in the 3rd round, or Malkoun just outworking him over the full 3 rounds and getting a unanimous decision. So Jacob Malkoun is my prediction to go out and show out in this one. We'll bring the fighters up on the scale. I mean, what else do you need to know? Torrez Finney, he looks like a freak of nature, per usual. The guy's built like a fucking block, a block of absolute muscle. On the opposite side, Jacob Malkoun, hey, looks decent. I mean, not, wow, he looks in great shape. It looks like typical Jacob Malkoun does. He's kind of a guy that's unassuming. I think that's the best way to put it. And then good face-off between the two. You can see Malkoun has that height advantage. I think that physique of Torrez is too muscle-bound to have cardio, especially, let's say Malkoun stops some takedowns and starts landing some shots, right? Pieces them up down the center, pop, pop, bust the nose up. That jab's working well. I could see Torrez Finney just getting TKO'd with Malkoun more of like an accumulation of volume over everything else. Or I could see 3 good rounds of work and Malkoun does more. For Torrez Finney, it's like, does he just find his way on top and just sit on the side of Malkoun? I don't think so. I think Jacob Malkoun's grappling defense holds up. I think Finney could take him down early and look strong in the 1st round, but Malkoun will start to find his range. He'll start to have his moments. And I'm hard-pressed to say Torrez Finney can handle a guy with, you know, this higher level opposition rate. He's fought some good customers in the UFC. He's been on the roster for a bit. Yes, he's been out for a while. It's been a year and 9 months, almost 2 years since he beat Petrosky. But he's still young at 30. And I think Jacob Malkoun comes back and, you know, probably has to deal with a little ring rust from round 1. But should start to find his range and rhythm come round 2. So we're going with the side of Malkoun. He's a -145 favorite, but I'll tell you, 71% of the masses are on Torrez Finney. The Torrez Finney believers are coming in heavy here. -145, like I said, +125 for the Finney side. You don't have to go out and bet Malkoun. You can just say, hey, it's a fading of Torrez Finney. I would rather not risk it on the dog that I'm not sure about. I think that something called me to maybe a round 3 or decision from Malkoun. Like, that makes some sense to me. At +140, I could see later stage stoppage or Malkoun winning a decision. I'll be damned if Torrez Finney has better cardio than Malkoun. And I'll be damned if he can keep up with Malkoun's pace. Jacob Malkoun's fought some decent fight. He's solid enough. +170 decision. A knockout over Torrez Finney, I can't say with confidence. It's +454, just so you know the line. I'm going to go Jacob Malkoun to get it done. Option A, scorecards, but option B, later stage knockouts. So maybe that KO or decision is what calls you. I'm going to say Jacob Malkoun can end the hype and can stop the undefeated Torrez Finney train and give him his first loss, especially Jacob Malkoun also at home in Australia. I think it's a good thing. I feel like he goes out and beats Torrez. One thing I will say, with the extra time for the rehydration of the weight cut, who knows how heavy Torrez Finney's going to walk in the cage. So if he does smotherfuck him, maybe the weight cut is an element to it as well because there's more time to rehydrate. We'll see. Next fight on the card, we got Cam Rowston versus Cody Brundage. Cam Rowston should make this look easy. Cody Brundage is very vulnerable to straight shots down the line. Cam Rowston's sharp with them. Okay? Cody Brundage throws wild shots over the top. Cam Rowston is better from the outside. He's taller. He's longer. He should be countering well. He should be able to hurt Cody Brundage on the feet. Cody Brundage could potentially try and spam wrestle. I do think Cam Rowston's grappling game could end up being on display here. I think he could hurt Cody Brundage. Brundage starts spam wrestling, starts panic wrestling, really is the better way to put it. And then we see the side of Cam Rowston able to showcase those jiu-jitsu skills, which he's actually most known for. You see him as a striker. You look at his knockout of Petrosky. You look at his knockout on, Contender. I picked both of them. I picked him to win both of those fights. And he was an underdog I believe, on both, if I'm not mistaken. Let me double check here. He was an underdog in both. And I'm like, how? And he shows out in both. Now he's a massive favorite, okay? The books have caught on. And for good reason. Because Cody Brundage should be levels below him in striking. The only element of the fight that I think Cody Brundage is the better traditional wrestler, right? If they were to do a wrestling match, I favor Cody Brundage. But in a fight, I think that Rowston doing damage on the feet, Brundage panic wrestling, getting caught in something stupid. Potentially Brundage just swinging wild shots over the top and his flatline KO'd and then goes into, a bit of a turtling shell after Rowston cracks him. Rowston takes his back and chokes him out. Don't be shocked if Cam Rowston wins by submission. That is the point I'm trying to push here to you. Cody Brundage, bit of a wild slugger, very hittable. Sure, can wrestle, sure. But he's going to be getting tuned up on the feet. Cam Rowston is levels better striking, but also has better jiu-jitsu. And I don't think Cody Brundage is wrestle fucking him. I don't see that. It's Cam Rowston to win with confidence. I really think Cam Rowston should look good in this matchup here. Let me bring up the scales between them both. And let's see what we're looking at here. All right. First, we got Cam Rowston. He's a very unassuming guy. If he didn't have the mohawk, he looks like a tax man. On the opposite side, we got blonde Brundage. Okay. Blonde Brundage rocking the full beard. I saw that he got the beard hair transplant. So I guess that's why it's fully coming in now. Respect to it, man. Using his money wisely to grow a proper beard. He actually looks pretty cool. He's got some aura. It's a cool look, man. It looks like a UFC 5 creative fighter when you want to add some flair to him and you dye the hair bling, bling, blonde. You put some ink on him. I think that the unassuming Cam Rowston is the A side of the matchup. And the height difference looks a lot more than what the stats tell you. Cam Rowston looks every bit of 6'4", and Cody Brundage looks 5'11". Rowston 3-inch reach advantage. I think he's going to be able to use it. Rowston also, he's more narrow build. There's a lot of arm length, man. I think he's going to be good from the outside. Rowston's on a nice win streak as well. Last loss was Torrez Finney. I think Torrez Finney is better at grappling control than this side of, Brundage. And he just laid on the side of Rowston. Rowston had some striking moments. He was trying, but, Torrez Finney just wouldn't be denied with the lay and pray. Since that point, he's been on a nice win streak. 4 of his last 5 wins, finishes. Both of his high-level wins, finishes. I like the win streak for him, whereas, Cody Brundage, spotted results. Last 5, he's 1 win, 2 losses, 1 draw, and 1 no contest. Is another no contest looming for the Cody Brundage side? If there are any fouls, Rowston better be careful. One shot to the back of the head, this fight's done. And it's a no contest. Or maybe even a DQ. 1 shot to the groin, this fight might be wraps, okay? So, Cam Rowston, watch your freaking weapons here. But I do think Cam Rowston should stop him. I think he'll look pretty good. I got Cam Rowston winning. And I feel pretty sure that he goes out and wins here. Minus 360 is really wide, though. Plus 295 for Brundage. The odds suck here. I think this fight ends in a finish. I think, fight ends inside distance is what? What is fight ends inside distance? 6-1 odds. Okay. Rowston inside distance around the minus 210, minus 185 mark. I agree with. I've said I think club and sub is not out of the realm of possibility at plus 210, but obviously knockout is live too. So it's a little bit of danger zone picking between the props. Do you think that Rowston gets some shots off, Brundage panic wrestles or gets dropped, and then Rowston able to secure a choke? I think it's possible. Or does Rowston just blast them with some big shots and then some ground and pound into the stoppage? Sub's calling me more. I'll say plus 210 sub. But obviously, inside distance makes a lot of sense at minus 210. I think Rowston is very live to win this fight also. Probably in the first 2 rounds, which is minus 130, but I'd rather just go inside distance because, what if it went longer? Or you could just, parlay up the money line at minus 360. Rowston should show out. This should be his fight. A Brundage upset, I would say, is very low likelihood. So Rowston to make it 6 in a row and to make it 2-0 in the UFC seems about right. Next fight on the card, Junior Tafa versus Billy Elekana in the battle of American Samoan versus Australian Samoan. Junior Tafa is one-dimensional, man. He's just a striker. And Billy Elekana is good everywhere. Billy Elekana actually has a good stand-up game. He fights behind a pretty educated jab. He's a southpaw with long arms. He's going to have a 5-inch reach advantage here. He's got a way better ground game. The side of Tafa is a good slugger. Very old school style, early 2000 style, but it's not like Tafa's an amazing striker. His big wins are a KO of Sean Sharaf and Parker Porter. At heavyweight, both of them. The Sharaf fight was rough to watch. Parker Porter fight, he looked better. But, those are not marquee wins that tell me you beat an up-and-coming prospect in Billy Elekana. Elekana is going to have a serious advantage in the MMA skills. The path of least resistance is grappling. I could see Elekana mixing it up on the feet a little bit and then timing the takedowns. And I think, Tafa can stop the first takedown, sometimes the second, but you put a few together, you chain it, he's going to be on his back. And I think Elekana submission seems pretty live here. I think Elekana shows out. I think he should dominate the fight. I think Billy Elekana on the ground is levels ahead of Junior Tafa. And Elekana by sub just seems like the A side for me as the official prediction. I think it makes too much sense, which at times those too much sense predictions are a little bit scary, but I think we're good as gold here, man. I don't think that Junior Tafa is knocking Billy Elekana out. Elekana is going to get to his back, and I think Elekana chokes him out. There's Elekana on the scales, looking pretty good, in shape, ready to rock and roll. Tafa on the opposite side, the native son, looking all right. He's 205 now. I respect him making 205. I'm glad he's not, sitting at heavyweight anymore because he was just a skinny, fat heavyweight. He looks a lot better at 205. He's a fun striker, but I think his, bread and butter of his game is just striking. His ground skills just haven't really evolved at all. And I don't expect them to evolve, in 6 months. Tokos, sure, he's a black belt and stuff like that, but Elekana, I think, is better than Tokos. So I favor Elekana over a Tokos as well. So I think Billy Elekana should handle business. There's a face-off between the two. Battle of the Samoans, man. I like the Battle of the Samoans. It's so fucking cool, actually. We got the long hair flow for the American Samoan. Then we got the tight and high fade for the side of Tafa from Australia. But yeah, there's a good face-off. I'm saying Elekana gets it to the ground. As long as he doesn't fuck around. and just try to sit on the feet and slug wild shots and fall in love with his hands, which I don't think he will. He did drop Kevin Christian last time before subbing him, but I think he recognizes that, Tafa's stand-up's decent. You wear on Tafa a bit, you hit some takedowns, you beat him up a little bit, the gas tank starts to fade. The submission will open itself up. I think probably second round. Minus 250 for Elekana, plus 210 for Tafa. The Elekana side it seems locked in. It'd be a surprise if the 6-4 Tafa was able to take out a kid like him. So I think Elekana, it feels like a lock here. Elekana by sub is plus 160. I think he's live to go out and get that submission here. I think the sub will eventually open itself up. Elekana wins sub round number 2, sitting at plus 525. I think that Tafa's fatigued in round 2, especially if he's, fending off some grappling from Elekana. I see Elekana wearing on him, beating him up a little bit, some ground and pound work into a stoppage win. Billy Elekana should be pretty one-sided. I think he handles Tafa, no problem. This would be a surprise, man. Elekana even had Bogdan Gushkov's back a year ago prior to getting submitted. I'm sure you look at that and you're like, all right, look how good Gushkov is. Now, granted, he still was subbed in the loss, but I think Elekana's ready for this. So Elekana over Tafa makes a lot of sense to me. Let's keep running. Let's jump to the main card. If you guys are watching and enjoying, smash the like button. If you're new to the channel, make sure you subscribe it up and be sure to hype the video as well. We got Salkilld in his showcase fight versus Jamie Mullarkey. It's Salkilld. It's probably knockout round 1. Jamie Mullarkey is defensively flawed. He doesn't have good head movement. He's like a plank, hittable down the center line, and I think it's going to be a field day target practice for Salkilld. Salkild's coming off of a violent knockout win over a very solid fighter in Nasrat Haqparast, who destroyed Jamie Mullarkey. This is a simply put mismatch. I think that we see Salkilld showcase some high-level skills in this one. He's got power in his hands. He's got good dexterity in his legs. The kicks are nasty. He's got a solid ground game. Where does Mullarkey beat him? Not going to knock him out. I don't see him out wrestling him. Going to outpoint him somehow. He's going to get dropped. Too much hitability on the Mullarkey side. Salkilld is going to light Jamie Mullarkey up like a damn Christmas tree, okay? Come fight. We got Christmas in late January here with Salkilld toying with Jamie Mullarkey. It's not a matter of if for me. It is a matter of when. Jamie Mullarkey should not go past the first round with Salkilld. I actually think it's a stock drop if this fight goes past the first round. There, Jamie Mullarkey weighing in. Bit of a scary look to him per usual, but, hey, ready to bring it. Man likes a good dog fight. He's just so stiff, man. And then there's Salkilld flexing, confidence at an all-time high. He's Australia's brightest prospect. He's their youngest son. And he's on the rise right now and seems like he's on track to do something major in his fighting career. There's the face-off. Look at the face-off. Jamie Mullarkey's neck is sitting out there. The chin is just on a platter for Salkilld to take. Mullarkey stepping in on short notice, replacing Rongju. That Rongju fight was sick, by the way. I'm sad we don't have that. This is a showcase. Jamie Mullarkey on the main, Salkilld on the main card against Jamie Mullarkey for an absolute show-out chance. Not going to be close. It shouldn't be more than 4 minutes. 4 minutes. If Mullarkey gets to the second round, it's impressive. Minus 950, Salkilld, plus 650, Mullarkey. Obviously, odds are incredibly wide because this is a complete mismatch. This is a squash match. This is the tomato can match. If Mullarkey was to win, this would be one of the craziest prospect bust ever, I feel. He's not going to win. Over 1.5 would surprise me. I think it goes under 1.5 at minus 150. I think Salkilld wins by knockout at minus 140. Inside distance is minus 550. Salkilld sub at 2-1. I think Salkilld knockout. I think Salkilld knockout round 1 actually makes sense here. Salkilld first round KO plus 165. Mullarkey too vulnerable on the feet. Going to be getting hit with some big shots. I think he's shut off, man. Knockout loss, and knockout loss. And Muhammad Naimov, he's a featherweight, and he's not a large featherweight, and he put Mullarkey's lights out, right? Then the last two, Nasrat Haqparast destroys him, Ruffy destroys him, and then a decision against Rolando Bedoya, who's not good, okay? I just think Salkilld destructive performance incoming. Salkilld, it's not competitive. First round knockout. Next fight, we got Tai Tuivasa versus Taliesin Teixeira. So I've been predicting Taliesin Teixeira, the tall, potentially dangerous contender on the rise, but like he's definitely an unknown of how good he is. But I got red across the board for Tuivasa. The man is on a 5-fight losing streak. His last win was against Derek Lewis in 2022, nearly 4 years ago. Okay. He has not fought in a year and 5 months. It was not a split decision. Okay. The rigged scorecard in Australia, 30-27 Tuivasa was delusional. It was 30-27 Rosenstrike. Ty's fun. You know, he slugs some wild fists, drinks out of shoes. You know, the shoeies are cool. Bro, he was like morbidly obese a few months ago. You saw him at the UFC fights, and you're like, he's never fighting again. We were talking about it during a live stream. He's never fighting again. He's back. I respect him making 265.5, for God's sake. My God, man. Taliesin Teixeira is a full-time athlete and fighter. Taliesin Teixeira, I don't think he's the next great Brazilian heavyweight. That's not what I'm saying. But straight punches aplenty, clean power in his hands. He's fast from the outside. He's a confident striker. Yes, he got dropped by Derek Lewis, but that stoppage was weird as fuck. I don't think it happens twice. It would be lightning striking twice if he loses to an aged Derek Lewis with a wild shot, and then he loses to a 5-fight losing streak Tai Tuivasa with a wild shot. They're giving him a big chance in Australia not to really build Tai. I mean, granted, if Tai wins, great. It's like they're pushing Taliesin Teixeira on us. They think he's a good prospect. He looks sick in his damn UFC debut. Granted, low shot against Tafa. And then, you know, the knockout of Arthur Lopes was pretty cool. Granted, Lopes caught him with some shots, but Teixeira rolled with him well. Fired back with a nasty straight punch that shut the lights off. I just can't pick a 5-fight losing streak Tafa who's been partying hard and eating a lot of food. You know, it's nonsensical. I'm going to pick the guy that I feel is more dedicated to becoming a world-class fighter versus someone that loves a good fist fight. You know, Tai Tuivasa is always a fun watch. I hope they still keep him on the roster, even if he goes 6 in a row. You know, I hope they don't send him out. But if not, he'll go to Misfits Boxing and he'll win against some Kaan. Or he'll go to bare knuckle and he'll be in some back and forth slugfest. And I'm sure he'll win. Probably a possibility for him if the UFC is not, you know, keeping him on their A side, which 6 losses in a row, hard to do. There's Taliesin Teixeira. He's not looking impressive on the scale. He never does. He's like, you know, chunky too. Not incredibly chunky, but, you know, it's not like he's walking around in shape, 6-packed up. Let's look at the face-off. You can see crazy height advantage for Taliesin Teixeira. Tafa with his hand up straight in the air. It looks like his arm height is nearly the same height as Taliesin Teixeira is. Straight shots from the outside, distance strikes from Teixeira probably get to Tafa. I think Teixeira is too explosive. I think Tafa is going to look potentially sluggish. Little ring rust. I don't know where he's at. Sure, if he gets on the inside and swings some wild shots, could Teixeira get shut out? Yes. Could Teixeira be a Stefan Struve without the ground game? Maybe, but he's already shown more explosiveness than that. I'm going to say that we see Taliesin win. But, I will tell you, the odds for the fight are very wide at -305. It's not inspiring. I'm going to go -305 with high confidence. You know, a guy that got knocked out, even though it was a weird stoppage, by Derek Lewis last time, an aging D-Lew. Tuivasa +255, lost 5 in a row. It should be a victory by KO on either side, but that's -400 at best for fight ends by KO. Tuivasa KO +310, Teixeira KO -185. I'm feeling like Teixeira is going to drop him. I'm feeling like Teixeira is going to put him out. I think Tuivasa might land some wild shots over the top, but I think we'll see, you know, Teixeira roll with the Tuivasa bombs. And I feel like, you know, Teixeira live to come with some power straights and connect clean on the chin. I think Teixeira wins. What's Teixeira round 1 or 2? Because I think that's probably when these fight ends. -200, not even worth it. I'm going Taliesin Teixeira, guys. I think he can do it. I'm going to say he goes out and he knocks Tai Tuivasa out. I don't know where Tai is at this point of his fighting career. If he comes out here and he gets a first-round KO and, you know, somehow he's back, listen, I'm excited for more. That'd be fun. I think that would be a fun best case scenario is Tuivasa pulls off the massive win, but this feels a bit like Derek Lewis last week versus Waldo. Obviously, lower level. Talis Teixeira is not Waldo. But ultimately, career position for Tuivasa is worse off than where Derek Lewis was at going into that fight against Waldo. So I'm going Taliesin Teixeira by knockout. But I'll hope to be wrong for the fun of the sport. And Tai Tuivasa winning at home in Australia is a beautiful thing. And it would feel really good. I'd be happy for him. So rooting for Tuivasa for sure, but I'm not going to predict him here. We're going Teixeira. Next fight on the card, it's Rafael Fiziev versus Mauricio Ruffy, featured fight. I love this fight. I'm going Mauricio Ruffy. I think everybody has jumped off the train. Fiziev, popular amongst the people, but Ruffy still standing as a favorite slightly. Ruffy's stand-up is sharp, man. Good long-range striker, precision on his straight shots, good kicks from the outside, good range management. I think Mauricio Ruffy's good. I really believe that Mauricio Ruffy has good top 10 potential. It's just they fed him Benoit Saint Denis thinking he's going to eat Benoit. Benoit eats him. Benoit Saint Denis is a marauder. He's nonstop. He's just different, man. Mauricio Ruffy got pressured, wrestled up, taken down, subbed up. He got handled in that fight. It's Benoit, though. Yeah, but Fiziev has some takedowns. Yeah, but he's like taking Ignacio down and just kind of controlling from guard. It's not like he's beating people up from top position. He's not a finisher on the ground. He's a slick striker. Rafael Fiziev is awesome to watch on the feet. He's got incredible body kicks. He's got good punch combinations in close range. He attacks the body quite well. In close range, he's got the edge over Ruffy. From distance, Ruffy's got the edge. I think Ruffy can snipe him from the outside. I think that Fiziev, he's going to look to mix in some takedowns, but this is not Ignacio Bahamondes. I think that Mauricio Ruffy is going to do a fair job at stopping these takedowns from Fiziev. And I think that Mauricio Ruffy is going to put some respect on his name after Saturday, that he's not just some bankrupt fighter takedown-wise. It's just Benoit is a monster. And I think that Mauricio Ruffy trained with Volk, who's got a similar stature to Fiziev, good thing. It's a good thing. And I think that we see Mauricio Ruffy look sharp. And I think Ruffy catches Fiziev with some clean punches. And I think you could even rock Fiziev. I'm going to say that Mauricio Ruffy gets this thing on the judges' scorecards. I think he gets a decision and even stuns Fiziev at some points throughout this fight and looks to be that clean striker that he was initially hyped up to be. And I think there's going to be hype back on the side of Mauricio Ruffy, and people are just going to realize BSD was a damn tough matchup for him. Another element of this fight that I'm going to call an intangible here is this extended recovery from the weight cut. I mean, Mauricio Ruffy going to fill out nicely with, an extra day, essentially, or at least an extra half day between fight time and weigh-in time. There's Mauricio Ruffy on the scale. He really does look like a Brazilian McGregor. And then on the opposite side, Fiziev looking ready to go, in shape for sure. Now, at the actual ceremonial face-off here, there was some jabbering by Fiziev saying I'm going to hit him with the punches, the elbows. He's talking to Ruffy, and Ruffy's just staring at him into his soul. I didn't like the overly talkative Fiziev, like talking himself into the fight. Mauricio Ruffy looked very calm. Mauricio Ruffy looked sharp, and he's standing out of southpaw, which is interesting. They're little mind games because, more so orthodox. He can switch, but I think of Ruffy as orthodox, I believe he's listed orthodox, and normally he does fight orthodox, but he has the switch ability. And Fiziev, to be fair, decent switching ability. I think it's interesting. I feel like Fiziev should shoot for some calf kicks, but as I think about Fiziev getting calf kick happy, I can see Ruffy connecting with a precision straight shot and hurting the side of Fiziev. And maybe Ruffy's showing us the southpaw stance here because he wants to come out in southpaw to avoid those calf kicks from the Fiziev side. That wide karate stance does open up the low kick, but the reach advantage that Ruffy brings to this fight, I think could be pretty effective if Fiziev is a little too leg kick happy or just kick happy in general. And I think Ruffy can catch him with some nice straights on the money, man. I think Mauricio Ruffy's going to look good in this spot. And I think he's going to look like the highly polished striker that many of us consider him and know him to be. But, it's forgotten a little bit because Benoit Saint Denis showed him levels. But it's okay. Benoit Saint Denis is just a destroyer of worlds. And I think BSD, who's on this card, we'll talk about soon, he's a monster. Now, looking towards the odd side, Minus 120 on Ruffy. It opened up at plus 125. He was an underdog for a bit. Now, minus 120. Slight favorite status for the Ruffy side. I agree with him as the slight favorite. Would be great if he was a slight underdog. That'd be better. He was an underdog when I initially picked him. I do think this fight goes over 2.5 at minus 170, but could Ruffy end up shocking Fiziev? Could he knock him out? I mean, you look, only one real knockout loss in 2019. And it was crazy enough, spinning back kick into punches. Magomed Mustafa, forgotten fighter from the early days of, the Fiziev fighting career. That's interesting, right? Maybe a knockout. I don't know. I was initially really thinking this fight goes over 2.5, and I felt like it was a confident pick, but I could see Ruffy catching him with something perfect, and it's, not an impossibility. Ruffy shuts him off. Ruffy KO is plus 285. Ruffy decision plus 215. I think decision or knockout makes sense. You're not going to see much of an improvement from the money line going decision or knockout because those are his two pathways. It's minus 110 or you get a money line at minus 120. So you got 10 points less. I think that we see Mauricio Ruffy outstrike Fiziev in this fight, defend takedowns well. I think he's live for a knockout. I'll say first call is decision, my initial call, but I do feel as though he'll hurt Fiziev at some point and potentially is live to stop him. Fiziev's not past his prime at all at 32, nearly 33, but Ruffy is 29, still coming into his own. And I really think we see a better Ruffy this time, also in a better matchup for himself than Benoit Saint Denis was. So Ruffy to go out and show out is going to be my prediction here. Let's keep running. Let's get to the co-main event. Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis. It's BSD. Relentless pressure, nonstop action. Won't be stopped, man. Okay? He won't be stopped. Okay? He's a marauder. He's just going to keep coming. Benoit Saint Denis, he's going to back Dan Hooker up. He's going to slug some wild shots with him. Dan Hooker will land, and then Benoit Saint Denis will land, and then Benoit Saint Denis will get up in close, and he'll rip some shots in close range. Elbows, punches, knees. He'll be going all over Dan Hooker, looking to take him down. Hooker will defend some takedowns, but eventually Benoit Saint Denis gets him down. And when they get to the ground, Benoit Saint Denis is so much better at grappling. Dan Hooker's takedown defense is pretty good. It's like Dan Hooker is actually not a bad wrestler. It's just his actual grappling game when he's on his back is minimal. He was gilly happy against the side of Arman Tsarukyan last time, shooting two of them. Granted, forced Tsarukyan to react and, try and spin out or fight out of it, roll through and get out of it. So that gilly's tight from him. But I think that Benoit Saint Denis is able to kind of storm through all that. I don't see him getting gillied by Dan Hooker, and I think BSD on top is trouble. We just saw Dan Hooker lose to a guy with very high-level wrestling in Arman Tsarukyan, but a good submission threat and a good ground game like Benoit Saint Denis has, but maybe with more generalized effective takedowns. I still think, though Benoit Saint Denis is not as polished in pure wrestling, his relentless style is going to get to Dan Hooker, and he will find himself on top of Dan Hooker throughout moments in this fight. And I think from top position, Benoit Saint Denis looking to rip big ground and pound, and I think he's live to get to that back of Dan Hooker. BSD has been making some evolutions in his game. I think BSD is a lot better than the early BSD that lost to Poirier and then the Moicano fight, which he lost. Which, I picked Moicano in that fight. But I'll be honest. I mean, round two, BSD with a shut eye is still landing bigger shots. And then he's been on a tear, 1-3 straight. And, able to beat Mauricio Ruffy is a tremendous prospect. Easy knockout against Benny Dariush. BSD's got power on top of the relentless style and the grappling skills. Dan Hooker, the last knockout win, it was Claudio Puelles with the body kick, but Puelles is awful. 2 split decisions in a war with Jalen Turner and a war with Gamrot. Arman Tsarukyan dominates him on the ground. I think that you got to respect Dan Hooker, 2 months ago fight, now getting back in there right away against Benoit Saint Denis, but I think it could go similar to the fight against Tsarukyan, but I actually think Dan Hooker could take some more damage because BSD likes those nasty elbows. And is going to be a little more ground and pound happy and a little more dirty in close range, ripping punches into the takedowns and big elbows and big knees and getting a little crazy out there. I'm going to say Benoit Saint Denis submits Dan Hooker here. I think he could bust Dan Hooker up and hurt him. I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility for BSD to get some serious shots off, but I think eventually the submission will open itself up, and that is how Benoit Saint Denis wins this fight. Submission wins. So the BSD side is the prediction for this matchup here. Now, I'll bring the fighters up on the scales and we'll check them out. First, we'll bring up Dan Hooker, who's got max aura now. I mean, Dan Hooker with the badass tattoos, the blonde hair works for him. Brundage is trying to channel his inner Dan Hooker. It ain't working, okay? Dan Hooker looks like a bad motherfucker, and he's always a fun watch. BSD on the opposite side looks ready to rock and roll. Typical BSD looking interesting, to say the least. Looks like Sloth from the fucking Goonies with that face there, to be honest with you. And then we got the face-off. We got the French flag in Australia. We got Dan Hooker with his daughter facing off with BSD. Calm, cool, collected. Listen, in a slug and fist fight, you always got to respect Dan Hooker. But at the end of the day, the God of War, I think he outdoes the Hangman in this one. And I think it's more so BSD's time. Dan Hooker, nearly 36. Benoit Saint Denis just recently turned 30. I think it's the BSD showcase. Now, the odds are really wide and in full agreement with everything that I've said. Minus 350 for BSD, plus 285 for Hooker. I wish there was more value on the money line, but simply put, there is not. Now, if you think Benoit Saint Denis could get some big punches off, maybe he gets a stoppage, by ground and pound or even a knockout over Dan Hooker. The KO for him is plus 315. The submission for him is plus 135. You got inside distance around minus 180, minus 170. Some people I've seen throughout, Propaholics, which we did, it was some folks talking that decision for BSD at plus 300. I'm going to say that I like that sub side at plus 135. I think he submits Dan Hooker. I do. I think a strangle of some kind from Benoit Saint Denis. That's like option A. I think getting the back of Dan Hooker, flatten him out, locking up the sub, getting the hooks in, strangle him. I see him on the back of Dan Hooker. The back takes of Benoit Saint Denis are actually pretty sharp, and his physical strength is nasty. And I just think we see Dan Hooker mauled when it gets to the ground. And I think eventually it's just simply put in inevitability. Jesus, it's 5:58 in the morning. I haven't slept yet. That's why. 5:58 in the morning, Jay. Inevitability, okay, for Benoit Saint Denis to get to that dominant spot and to finish Dan Hooker by submission. But you could go inside distance. He's going to finish him. It's going to be a dogfight. I don't think this goes distance. Okay, UFC introduces $100,000 performance of the night bonuses and $25,000 finish bonuses. And Dan Hooker versus Benoit Saint Denis goes the decision side? Nah. BSD sub, the official pick. He takes out the Hangman. I don't think Dan Hooker is going to be able to knock Benoit Saint Denis out. Could land some big shots. Could land some big body punches. Some shots up high, some knees to the body. But eventually, BSD gets his way with him. Let's jump to the main event. If you guys are watching and enjoying, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button too. Be sure to hype the video. We got Alexander Volkanovski versus Diego Lopes. It's a competitive fight, okay? Competitive enough that yesterday I was talking about 5 reasons to pick both guys to win, and I did a full video on that. But ultimately, I have decided on the Diego Lopes side in what feels like a coin flip battle between a great and Volkanovski, not to be cliche with using the nickname, but simply the greatest featherweight of all time, versus the perennial contender on the rise, a man that, yes, Volkanovski beat last time, but a man who got to him last time with power shots, a man that had moments in the fight. It wasn't, some walk in the park for the side of him, it was competitive. And Diego Lopes is blessed with fight-changing knockout power, okay? And I really feel as though throughout this entire 25-minute fight, Volk is at risk of getting shut off. Now, it comes down to this factor. Can Diego Lopes make the adequate adjustments? What are those adjustments? He needs to trap Volkanovski better. When I mean trap, he needs to cut off the cage better. A lot of the first fight, he was getting pieced up. He was chasing Volk, right? Volk was able to move laterally, pick him off with big shots to the body and head, even hurt him throughout the fight. Not badly hurt him, not nearly knock him out, but stun him, crack him clean with significant punches and do damage and land a lot more significant strikes throughout the fight. But there were these small moments, right? As Volk looks to pull out round 2. Boom, the perfect chopping right hand from Diego Lopes. Down goes Volk. right? Round 4, you see the trap, you see the moment. Big barrage of hooks. Diego Lopes busts Volkanovski up badly. We need more of that. I think that the side of Diego Lopes will make these adequate adjustments. Being the younger and improving fighter, more primed, I can see the improvements showing themselves here. And I think that timing Volkanovski is everything. Timing on his pullbacks with big straights, whether to the body or head. I would like to see Diego Lopes go to the body a bit more. Maybe he gets Volk with some nasty kicks to the body, some nasty straights to the body. And as the fight wears on, that will slightly slow Volkanovski to make those traps more effective that he looks to set. I'm going to believe in the adaptability in Diego Lopes at 31 years of age. Now, of course, Volkanovski at home in Australia, right? Obviously, so excited to defend the title there, the home crowd energy, the elite fight IQ that he has. He's got tremendous ability to control the tempo of the fight, incredible feints and lateral movement, and an ability to avoid big shots and time nice punches down the center line. And an underrated wrestling game, which in the first round he had some success with late. He took down Diego Lopes. But ultimately, you know, you look at the fight as a whole, the takedown defense of Lopes held up really well. I'm going to say Diego Lopes gets him this time. Hurts him throughout moments in the fight. Live to knock him out. Does he flatline Volk? I think he could hurt him. I think he could steal this decision in a wild back and forth. He is live to chin him, absolutely. But something's telling me a rejuvenated Volk at the very least, having, 9 months off since the last fight and those KO losses being like 2 years ago now, the Topuria and Makhachev, at the very least, the chin is recovered. But that doesn't tell me that he doesn't survive the damaging onslaughts from Diego Lopes. And I really do pray with my hands right in front of the damn camera here, Diego Lopes, throw some more chopping straights, man. Don't just swing the wild shot from way out of range with your feet way behind you and your arm coming this way. Come straight down the center at least some of the time. And I'm sure he'll find the target on Volk more often than not. And that right there could be a key difference maker, just a straight punch from Diego Lopes. But add into the other factors like cutting the cage off a bit. I think there could be great success from Diego Lopes in this fight. And I will assume after the loss, he makes the adequate adjustments. Obviously, Volkanovski looking to take what he did last time and do better and build upon it. And maybe that would include landing some cleaner takedowns, right? Maybe that would include Volk to hit takedowns. He'd be better served to press forward, but you can't really press Diego Lopes backwards. So it would have to be in the countering moments and then, trying to time some forward pressure moments to get the takedown. But Diego Lopes coming forward was stopping all of the takedowns. Very hard to take somebody down as they're moving forward on you like that. I think that we see Diego Lopes show it out this time and do what many of us expected him to do last time. Hurt Volkanovski, potentially win a 5-round war. I really just feel still torn on method of victory because I think knockout is live, but I have so much respect for the legacy of Volk. Decision is live too. They could go 5 hard and Lopes could have more moments and steal this, but there is a side of me that thinks Diego Lopes is going to trap him against the cage and get some serious power shots off, and Volk may end up getting his light shut off at 37 years of age. It's his first fight at 37. I'm going Diego Lopes this time and new champ to take out Alexander the Great Volkanovski. Now, I want to look at the fighters on the scales. I want to see what I'm looking at, okay? I want to see what the weigh-ins look like. So first, of course, we'll bring up OG Volkanovski. He does look 37 now, but granted, he's cutting weight. The face is all sunken in and all, but, you can see he's starting to wear the years of banging inside of that UFC octagon. On the opposite side, Diego Lopes looks incredible. Younger man by 6 years. I think it's a factor. Looking at the face-off between the two, calm, cool, collected Volk, calm, cool, collected Diego Lopes. Obviously, similar to what we saw last time at the face-off. These things don't really matter with a fight like this. Both guys made championship weight, 145, right? Volk, I think he was 144 and a half. You just think half a pound under? Is he getting old on us? No, I don't think so. I think that we see Diego Lopes have the bigger moments in this fight. And I think Diego Lopes beats Volkanovski this time. But it's absolutely a coin flip fight. And there's such strong arguments to be made for both sides here. But my side, I'm going to believe in the Diego Lopes side to make the adaptations. We got 25 more minutes that Volk's got to survive with this animal. it could take 3 punches across 3 rounds to sway this fight in favor of Diego Lopes. Volk power doesn't have that same effect. Volk is a minute winner, right? The round winner. Lopes is a moment winner, and it takes just one moment to end the fight, but just a few moments to win multiple rounds throughout the fight. Even if he's losing majority of exchanges, landing big shots, hurting Volkanovski, nearly stopping him, Volk may survive. But what if it happens multiple times? And what happens when Volk gets dropped now at 37 and the fight goes on? He gets hurt again. Potentially the accumulation of damage gets to him, and Lopes puts him away. I can't wait for this fight. This is actually a sick fight. I know many of us were like, about it initially, but now, a little over a day and a half away, or a little under a day and a half away from the card. I guess from the fight about a day and a half plus away. My God, I'm excited. Volkanovski minus 135 is the favorite. Diego Lopes plus 115. I'm going to tell you what I like. I'm going to tell you straight up what I like for the prop bet inside here. Okay? I'm going to bring it up right now. Sorry about that mistake there. Diego Lopes, KO or decision. Okay? Lopes, KO or decision side. If we can find it, I know what it was sitting at earlier. I believe plus 190, but let's see if it's still there. Lopes, KO or decision, plus 190? That makes a lot of sense to me. I don't think he's submitting Volk. I'd be shocked if he submitted Volk. To go out and confidently say he's going to chin Volk, come on, bro. It's Volkanovski, plus 325. To say he's going to win a decision, it's plus 525, upwards of plus 700 if you're thinking. A hunch, there's a small feeling to it. I think Lopes could shut his lights off this time. I think Lopes could shut him off this time and knock his ass out. Which is crazy against Volk. I think knockout is live at plus 325. I guess if I was going to go, decision is like the degen side. I feel more towards the knockout, but I like knockout or decision to cover your ass from both ends, Cover your ass from both ends. I don't know exactly what you know what I mean, all right? You know what I'm saying? I'm going Diego Lopes as an underdog, plus 115. You can just money line it, or you can KO or decision it at plus 190. And then if he wins by DQ, you're fucked. And if he somehow gets a sub, you're fucked. But I don't think those method of victories are very likely for Diego Lopes, all right? Diego Lopes to get it done. That's going to be my prediction. I'll be honest, like a day and a half before doing this video, I'm seeing Lopes hurting Volk. But I'm just like, I wonder, does Volk rise again? No? Does he still rise after getting hurt badly? Doesn't go out. And even though Lopes ends up winning the fight and doing more, Volk shows his elite durability and recovery skills and survives till the very end. It's possible. We'll see. We'll see. I'm going Lopes. That's the pick. Official call was decision. I'm hunching towards KO right now. Like leaning KO ever so slightly. That's why I feel so good about KO or decision. Badass fight that I cannot wait for. I definitely excited to watch it live with you guys during the fight companion, man. I'm excited to witness it all together. I'm going Lopes Army to get it done over the great Volkanovski here. So all respect to Volk, but I'm going to say it's Lopes this time. Now, those are the predictions for the full card. That's the weigh-in recap side. But, we're not done yet. Hold on. It's 6 in the morning, 6:09 to be exact. Elekana Rowston seems safe, right? Parlays, right? I just want to go over what we've talked about already. Elekana sub, Salkilld KO, Ruffy decision, Savage prop degen. Degen shit. Elliott to win with Lopes, degen shit, plus 377. But I said to myself, let's see, can I come up with anything on the fly at 6 in the morning? So I feel as though that Lopes KO decision, if you're looking to just make some crazy shit happen, you know what I'm saying? You're more on the side of, I'm chasing some big numbers. Lopes KO decision with Oban Elliott at plus 519, and then with Benoit Saint Denis to go out and win via submission. If you want to just go more on the degen side of things, you're looking at plus 1541. If then from there you want to continue to add to the slate, and you're like, man, I kind of like what you're saying about Ruffy. Fiziev looks kind of scared at the weigh-in. Something's off with Fiziev. You add him in plus 2908. There's something to be said. You want to add in Kim Sang-woo, can be crazy, plus 6,669. That's insane. There's better ways to play it. Safer, smarter side. Like, I think, the Lopes side, of course, you can moneyline the dog. Of course, you can play that KO or decision. Of course. Maybe you're thinking, yo, I like close money Ruffy. What about that? What about close money Ruffy with Benoit Saint Denis inside the distance? You know, if you're feeling close money Ruffy, if you like what you saw, if you're thinking what I'm thinking, I think that's live. And then with the Saint Denis inside distance, you're looking around the plus 207 range for that. Put them together. You like Quilly and Salkilld? You think, yeah, he's going to go out and get a knockout. Like, you know, him winning by submission is not what they want to see. Plus 453 for Ruffy. PSD inside distance, Salkilld KO. I think that makes a lot of sense. I think it makes too much sense. Then you like Oban as a dog. Now you got plus 1,089. Like Diego Lopes too, plus 2,539. You don't like the side of Oban Elliott. You just want to throw Diego Lopes plus 1,128. You throw Lopes KO or decision at plus 188. You're taking it to wild side plus 1,493. Just to read some off for you guys. All right. At the end of the day, Wednesday's parlays, they got good quality. Don't get it twisted. But I wanted to add a little final twist to it all. So do with that information as you wish. But I will recommend this, okay? If you're actually going to throw some shit down on it. You know what I'm saying? On the fights. Do your own research. See where it lines up with mine for your highest likelihood of success, okay? Now, if you're just blindly telling you want to throw a couple bucks, it's a different conversation. Do as you wish. But if you're really going after it, you should make sure to do your own due diligence too. I hope you guys enjoyed this week's weigh-in recap show. Give me some props for staying up throughout the night and making this happen, all right? I love you guys. Smash the like button. Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Welcome to the show. W in the comments. You got nothing to say, but definitely let me know. Any pick flips? What do you think? Main event call? You like it? Some other picks? What do you want to talk about? Talk to me in the comments. I want to hear from you guys. Hype the video. That's YouTube's new thing. Make sure you hype it up, all right? And I'll see you guys for the Fight Companion. Make sure you tune in. I love you all. Thanks for watching. Talk to you real soon. Peace out.